بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Before starting, I want to remind everyone to please remember those who are in difficulty in your prayers, especially the sick, and pray that Allah may give people full and complete health. The title of this khutbah is The Future of Islam number 4, and the subtitle is The Second Advent of Jesus. I was going to finish last week with Future of Islam number 3, but some things happened during this week which I thought were interesting, and I wanted to share them with you. And I start by reciting chapter 43, verses 61 to 66. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ فلا تمترن بها واتبعون هذا صراط مستقيم ولا يصدنكم الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين فلما جاء عيسى بالبينات قال قد جئتكم بالحكمة ولأبين لكم بعض الذي تختلفون فيه فاتقوا الله وأطيعون إن الله هو ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم فاختلف الأحزاب من بينهم فويل للذين ظلموا من عذاب يوم أليم. هل ينظرون إلا الساعة أن تأتيهم بغتة وهم لا يشعرون. And their English translation is, and this, and Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali has put Revelation, which is the Holy Quran, is undoubtedly knowledge of the hour. So I have no doubt about it, and follow me. This is the right path. Do not let the devil hinder you. He is your open enemy. And when Jesus came with clear arguments, he said, I have come to you indeed with wisdom, and to make clear some of what you differ about. So keep your duty to Allah and obey me. Surely Allah is my Lord and your Lord. So serve Him. This is the right path. But factions among them differed. So woe to those who did wrong for the punishment of a painful death. Do they wait only for the hour that it should come on them suddenly, while they do not perceive? The non-Ahmadis interpret verse 61 of this chapter 43 as, and indeed Jesus will be a sign of the hour. So do not doubt it and follow me. This is the straight path. But if we go back and we look at this verse, we know that the Arabic for Jesus is Isa. This is the name used for him in the Holy Quran. We look at verse 61. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمُ لِلسَّاعَةِ فَلَا تَمْتَرُنَّ بِهَا وَاتَّبِعُونِ هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Did you hear the word Isa in there? The word is not there. It has been interpreted. And Hazrat Maulana, in translating this, he has translated that, and this, that is the Holy Quran. And as I said, the word Jesus, which is put in there in non-Ahmadi translations, does not exist in the Arabic. But everyone agrees, whoever this Jesus is, whether it's Jesus, the son of Mary, or someone else who comes resembling him, he will come with wisdom to make clear what people differ about and how Muslims should interpret and act upon Islam. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed to be the Mujaddid or the reformer of the 14th century of the Islamic era, and he confronted all other religions and established that the Holy Quran was the final word of Allah. And in words of the Holy Quran, he is to come to you, what did it say? With wisdom, and to make clear some of what you differ about. And this is what he did by confronting. He had public debates with Hindus and Arya Samaj and Christians and etc. etc. He also wrote a book about Sikhism and so on. But be that as it may, there are two things that I want to bring to your attention. And the first one is, well, actually, the interesting thing is that as Ghulam Ahmad was accused of being a British agent for saying both of these things. He was called other names as well, and so on. The first was the concept of jihad. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, he clarified this concept. He said that jihad, the term jihad, derives from johad, which means to struggle or to strive. And this encompasses all efforts made to achieve an objective. In this age, it includes writing articles, creating podcasts and videos, and speaking out against the misrepresentation of Islam. He emphasized that it was wrong to limit jihad to combat. For this, the ulama, so-called, accused him of being a British agent and having abrogated the armed jihad, the armed struggle at the behest of the British. You know, it's as if Muslims were running to jihad. Was the Nizam of Hyderabad conducting a jihad against the British? What about the Nawabs all over India? What about the king of Iran and the king of Afghanistan? Were any of them conducting an armed jihad against the British? No. But this man sitting in Qadian, without any means, he was supposed to take up arms against the British, which was at that time the mightiest power in the world. But that's not the point. What I want to turn to is what has happened recently in the past week. So consider this in the light of recent actions by the Saudis. Saudis, in religious terms, are often referred to as Wahhabis or Salafis. And Wahhabis and Salafis are perceived as extremists who advocate the idea that Muslims should rise up and compel non-Muslims to convert to Islam by force of arms, at the point of sword. Now, this allegation was put to the Saudis, and what did Saudis do? In response to this allegation from Americans, the Saudis have dispatched their books on Islamic teachings to Americans and requested them to point out and requested the Americans to point out the things that Saudis should remain from their Islamic textbooks on Islamic teaching, because they portray them as extremists in the West, and they want to be seen as reasonable and peace-loving. They don't want to be seen as reasonable and peace-loving and moderate because the Holy Quran says so. but because the Americans want this. But the question is, if forcing people to embrace Islam on the point of sword is Islamic teaching, why should it be removed from Islamic texts just to look good in the eyes of the Americans? Are Saudi stooges and agents of Americans? No. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad did not assert that any teaching of Islam should be altered to appear favorable in the eyes of others. What he said was that Muslims have misunderstood the concept of jihad as solely representing an armed struggle. He presented to the Muslims what Allah desired, what Allah had revealed, and its correct interpretation, in contrast to the Saudis, who attempt to convey to the Muslims what the Americans want. He lacked oil wealth or armies, but he depended on Allah rather than material possessions. The Saudis possess wealth and armies, yet they don't have any faith in Allah. The second example I want to give you is of United Kingdom, where King Charles recently, over the last 2 weeks, arranged for the Jewish and Muslim leaders of various sects to come together and spend 3 or 4 days at one of his palaces to consider how they can live together in peace. Deobandi, Barelvi, Shia, Ismaili, their leaders were all asked to join the Jewish leaders of various sects in meetings to promote peace. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? Because let's contrast this with what happened when Ahmadis had a court case in South Africa about whether they were Muslims or not. The first weapon in our opponent's armory was to declare that we were using a Jewish barrister. What the man's religion had to do with anything is neither here nor there. When Muslims go to America for an operation, Muslim leaders go to America for an operation, do they insist that the operation should be performed by a Muslim of their sect? Or would they say, find me the best doctor in whatever that field is? Whether he's Sunni, whether he's Shia, or whether he's Hindu, or whether he's Sikh, or whether he's Jewish. It's his skill in that operation that matters. But anyway, the barrister wasn't a Jew, he was a Christian. When the judge gave decision in our favor, declaring the Lahori Ahmadis to be Muslims, again, propaganda was spread that the judge was a Jew and he declared Lahori Ahmadis to be Muslims to sow discord in the Muslim community. What are your leaders doing now? Can you explain that to me? Sunni and Shia, Barelvi and Deobandi and Ahl Hadith. What are your leaders doing? Comfortably for 3-4 days, cocooned in a palace, holding secret meetings. You accused us. You're having secret meetings with a Jewish barrister. We don't know what conspiracies you're concocting. But let me ask you, you had secret meetings with Jewish leaders. What conspiracies were you concocting? Barelvis and Deobandis? Are they also sowing discord in the Muslim community by doing this? Or were Muslims being hypocrites when they said these things about us? This also establishes the truth written in the Holy Quran and stressed by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. First, the Holy Quran says, live in peace and harmony with all communities. Al-Kafirun says, I can't convince you and you won't be able to convince me. You live by your religion, I'll live by my religion. No. The Holy Quran tells the Holy Prophet that the Holy Prophet will not be questioned about the beliefs of others on the Day of Judgment. He will only be questioned about what he did. And others will have to answer for themselves. So why should I bother about what they believe or don't believe or whatever? I'm not going to be asked about that. They'd be asked about that. As far as we are concerned, we should treat everyone with respect and kindness. And if we can, help them without regard to their religion or sect or nationality or color or creed. This is the teaching of Islam as emphasized by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And these incidents also stress another thing that the Holy Quran taught, that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, and that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib also stressed that if you lie, as these gentlemen did against us, against the Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the Mujaddid of the 14th century, the promised Messiah and Mahdi, if you lie, then in the end you will be put to shame and you will be humiliated. And this is what's happening. These Muslim leaders are doing every single thing that they said, that they accused us of doing, and said we were doing it because we were agents of the British and we were agents of the Zionists and we were agents of the Jews and we were agents of this and that. And so this is one further proof that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was the Mujaddid of the 14th century, the Mujaddid whom the Holy Prophet Muhammad prophesied as being the promised Messiah and the Mahdi. Listen to what the Holy Quran says. Jesus will come, and when Jesus came, this is the previous advent, with clear arguments. He said, I have come to you indeed with wisdom and to make clear some of what you differ about. So keep your duty to Allah and obey me. It was indeed wisdom that the Holy Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, Rahmatullah alayhi, tried to impart to the Muslim community. And as the Holy Quran says, surely Allah is my Lord and your Lord, so serve Him. This is the right path. Not the Americans, not the British, not anyone else, but factions among them differed. So woe to those who did wrong for the punishment of a painful death. So at the end, I again urge Muslims to open their hearts and minds, drive out prejudice against the Ahmadis and Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and look at things with an open mind, not blindly following what Mr. A or Maulana B or Mufti C has said. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم. واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. اللہ اکبر اللہ اکبر اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ اشہد ان محمد رسول اللہ. حی علی الصلاۃ حی علی الفلاح قد قامت الصلاۃ قد قامت الصلاۃ. اللہ اکبر لا الہ الا اللہ. اللہ اکبر. الحمد للہ رب العالمین الرحمن الرحیم مالک یوم الدین ایاک نعبد و ایاک نستعین اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
آمين.
آمين. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
آمين.
آمين. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Astaghfirullah. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us for today's Friday service. With a prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity, regardless of their religion, caste, creed, nationality, color, ethnicity, safe and sound and free from harm, and relieve the distress of those who might be in difficulty, and give full health to all of us. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.